Thank you everyone for your patience. I know it's 6, we still have one more session to go, but I promise this last session would be, we will cut it short, we'll make it interesting, and we'll talk about films. So I thank all the people who are still here and has not headed back. So for this session, I would be moderating the session, and I'm going to call my panel now. Just a second, sorry. I have with me Kaveri Bamzai. Kaveri is an independent journalist and the first woman editor of India Today, with over 30 years of experience at the Indian Express and the Times of India. She has authored several books on cinema and society, including The Three Khans and The Emergence of New India, No Regrets, The Guilt-Free Woman's Guide to a Good Life, Bollywood Today, and monographs on women in Indian cinema. She's a noted speaker at TEDx and other major literary festivals. She curates high-profile events and writes for Open Magazine. She's a Chevening Fellow, a recipient of the M.S.A. Rao Award, and serves as Head of Advocacy for the InfraVision Foundation. Kaveri, welcome to the PAP Summit. And next on my panel is Nilofer Karimboy. Am I pronouncing the name correctly, I hope? Nilofer is president of the Shehnaz Hussain Group of Companies. She manages the marketing of the company and has a special interest in research and development. While being a corporate personality, she is also a best-selling writer with 5-book contract, currently with Rupa and Company. She's also a theater writer, producer. Her play Ananda, Eyes of the Healer, directed by Muzaffar Ali with a voiceover from Kabir Bedi, ran to full houses and is due for repeat shows this theater season. She's also an avid photographer and has done an exhibition called Faces in My Window, which captured the angst of Joy of Street. And next up, I have Nasir Abdullah. Nasir is an Indian model and a veteran actor known for his work with both cinema and television. He started as a model in the 1980s before transitioning to acting with the stage play Mischief Mania, which was released in 1992. His film debut came with Dil Ashna Hai, also in 1992, but he gained recognition mostly for Mitra My Friend, which came in 2002, and won the Best English Film at the National Film Awards. He has also been, we've also seen him in notable films like Main Hoon Na, Page 3, Taxi Number 911, Om Shanti Om, and others. Please welcome Nasir to the stage. And as you all know, I will be moderating this session. Anish, Anish just turned up. Actually, we are running late and he's just turned up. Anish is an Indian political activist and writer. He's the founder of the Pink List India, the country's first archive of politicians supporting the LGBTQI A+ rights. Gawande serves as the director of the Dara Sikho Fellowship, a program dedicated to fostering cultural and intellectual exchange in the Kashmir Valley. His writings have been featured in various publications where he addresses topics ranging from politics and culture to issues concerning the LGBTQIA+ community. Did I forget anybody else? Okay, so Anish, please welcome to the stage. Yay. We have an audio-visual, a video giving the overview of the session. So if the esteemed panels may please turn towards the screen, you can see the, yeah, sorry. This has been a little bit mess. Okay, so please pay the...
But what happens when that mirror is distorted? For decades, Indian cinema has reinforced patriarchal norms, shaping how we perceive gender roles. The dominant narrative, men are strong, aggressive, and in control. Women women are submissive, fragile, and exist to please. These stereotypes don't just reflect reality, they create it. From the angry young man of the 70s to today's glorified toxic lover, male protagonists are often excused for stalking, aggression, and violence, all under the guise of romance. Meanwhile, female characters are often one-dimensional, either the pure and virtuous ideal woman or the sensual temptress. The item song culture reduces women to mere props of entertainment. And when women break these molds, they are either villainized or met with tragic endings. Strong, independent female leads often suffer in the end, reinforcing that defying patriarchy comes at a cost. This ties into the concept of the male gaze, as introduced by feminist film theorist Laura Mulvey. The male gaze refers to how cinema portrays women from a heterosexual male perspective, reducing them to objects of male desire rather than full-fledged characters. Women in films are often framed as passive subjects, to be looked at, admired, or possessed, rather than active agents of their own narratives. Cinema influences reality. These narratives shape how society views gender roles, relationships, and power. The question is, can we rewrite the script? The change has begun. New age filmmakers, female directors, and conscious audiences are questioning the status quo, but we still have a long way to go. However, we are witnessing a contradiction in Bollywood today. While progressive films with strong female leads are emerging, movies like Kabir Singh and Animal, which glorify toxic masculinity, aggression, and male entitlement, continue to be massive hits. The question we need to ask is, why do audiences still gravitate towards such narratives? This contradiction raises a crucial discussion. How do we combat the glorification of toxic masculinity in films? Do we hold filmmakers accountable? Do we challenge audiences to rethink their choices? Do we amplify feminist storytelling? The responsibility lies with all of us, filmmakers, critics, and viewers. Cinema should empower, not oppress. It should reflect all stories, not just patriarchal fantasies. It's time to redefine what it means to be a hero and a heroine.
You know, because we just mentioned, and since morning we have heard Animal a lot of times, so I think it would also be interesting to also invite Anil, the men's rights activist, for this panel. I think his inclusion would also be very interesting. So you already have met him. Anil, please come on, welcome on the stage. It's very tiring. Yeah. So I would jump straight to these two films. The whole year we have been 2024. We have talked about these two films, and I'm coming to Kaveri. Kaveri, as a critique, do you think that the critiques maybe have a role to play in either normalizing these extremely toxic, masculine, violent films, or celebrating them, or completely ignoring them? Do you think, yes, please, Mike, I'm so sorry. Do you think, what is the role of the critiques here?
I think really the critic is absolutely quite useless in this context, because these films have done well despite the critics. And I think what is interesting to note is what is the social acceptance of movies like this. And the fact is that the box office tells you that they are successful. So here the critic, whether he or she likes it or not, is absolutely not necessary, is absolutely, unessential to the conversation. And this conversation is one that society obviously wants to have, but is somehow not able to have, as we've seen today. This is the kind of conversation that we need, which is not possible. Therefore, people are flocking to watch movies like this. And I think that is what is interesting. The fact that society has actually given it their approval. Why does Kabir Singh do well? Why does Animal do well? It's a kind of male fantasy, because they can see that things are changing. The family unit has changed. The way society treats women has changed. The way women are treating men has changed. The way men treat other men, as you have said, has changed. So on screen, they are still able to live in a world where the woman is submissive, is the comforter, is the consoler, and the man is hyper-masculine, able to, articulate his aggression through violence, both verbal as well as physical. And I think that is the male fantasy. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it is what is happening in society. I think society is going through a tremendous flux. While you have people like Atul Subhash, you also have people who are the exact opposite. But on screen, you're able to see this idealized, hyper-masculine man who's very different. I just want to add one thing, who's very different from the angry young man of the 70s. Because the violence is not against the state. The violence is actually within the family. And I think that is very significant.
It's interesting what you said. Two things that I noticed. You said that men are playing out these fantasies in the theaters because things are...
Actually, sometimes it's a fantasy for the woman as well. Maybe she also wants to, at some very deep level, wants to go back to
traditions,
the idea of being taken care of.
But my question, but why I find it interesting is you trying to say that this is the fantasy to go about killing hundreds of men with a machine gun and then asking the women to lick my boots.
Look at movies like Pushpa 1 and Pushpa 2.
This is the fantasy. Yeah.
It is a fantasy. And the woman is an enabler of this fantasy.
Yeah.
The woman is not arguing. You see the new movie which I just watched, Sikandar. The woman is an enabler of this man who has 49 cases against him. And she's the one who actually is threatening the police. That if you dare to pick up my husband, you'll have the whole state of, supposed state of Rajkot or whatever it is, standing up against you. So the woman here is actually an enabler of the man's violence, both physical and verbal. And, the fact is that a lot of women like Kabir Singh as well. A lot of women idolize Preeti. A lot of women idolize Geetanjali in Animal.
Yeah.
So is there some deep-seated psychology which we don't understand?
Yeah, that's why I think when you said that critics don't really have a role, I do feel that there is a role.
We have a role in highlighting these issues.
Yeah.
But how much people listen to us? Is the question.
No, but the role also could be of just ignoring them. Why I'm saying is this because when I was doing the research for this session, I saw that there are a lot of fans of the movie Animal are going and on YouTube and saying this movie is our revenge to 4 More Shots, which was produced by Pritish Nandi Communication. And I thought, let me go and watch 4 More Shots. I mean, why do they want to take revenge on this series? 4 More Shots, for the audience, is just about 4 young girls. One of them is madly in love with a guy, another one is a divorcee, another one is a single, another one is a serial one-night stand. They're just living their life. They're not killing anybody. They're not taking a machine gun. Why do men want to take revenge on simple storytelling of women? So that I will now go to Anil.
But just one point here, just to add, and I think I'd love to listen to Anil on this as well.
Yeah.
It is not simple storytelling. It is storytelling that is challenging the social norm.
And in
some ways reflecting the change as well.
Yes.
When you reflect a change that is happening as we speak, it's always painful.
Yeah.
To the establishment.
So therefore, absolutely. Therefore, I now come to Anil. Anil, these 2 movies. First, I want to ask you something from a previous session when you said that men hate men. You said men do not dislike men. Do you watch movies, Anil, or do you watch television series?
No,
movies, TV series? You watch?
Yeah.
I
do.
Can I just on the top of my head tell you just about how many zillions of films have been made on brotherhood, bro code, but nothing has been made on sisterhood or celebrating women until maybe a couple of years back, like 4 More Shots. There are zillions and zillions of films made in the country, in India, as well as abroad, which celebrates brotherhood and this, starting from our army to our bro code, and it's completely sort of a misinformation to say that men hate men. I don't think that is true. But my question to you is that, do you think this is a male fantasy? That do men want to go ahead and kill so many people and ask the women to lick their boots? Is it a male fantasy?
Okay, there are two things. Actually, this is very interesting thing. You are saying there are so many movies on bro code made, like Sholay and all. Then how do men hate men, right? So if you see a movie called Jindagi Na Milegi Dobara, actually that violates our code. These men, half of the movie degrading other men. They are actually bringing down other men. So we won't consider it as a positive thing from our perspective. Okay?
But that's a new age cinema.
No, not whatever. Even old cinema. See, I'll tell you where we stand. We stand at a place where we say male self-preservation, which is opposite of male disposability. If a movie is showing male bodies falling down, in whatever movie, right? In so many movies, Sholay, men are being shot, all men are falling down. Tridev, all men are falling down. For us, like as a ideological organization, we want this to evolve. Whether it is movie or wherever. So where we believe that men have to value their own lives first. And then they have to value others' lives also. Now here is the catch. I'll tell you where it is coming from. Most men, they do violence in the name of saving society, saving women, saving country, and all that. In our philosophy, we say me first. I preserve myself first. Then I preserve my parents.
Can we come to the movie Animal?
Now Animal movie, Kabir Bedi. So in our case, it is reversed. That we don't care about religion, saving religion, society, culture, and nation. We are other way around. You preserve yourself first. Now coming to Animal and Kabir Bedi, let's say I did not immediately watch Kabir Bedi. I watched bit late. Sorry, Kabir Singh, or Arjun Reddy for that, because I'm Telugu. I can relate that language. So these movies are disturbing. Okay, and Animal movie is like a what nonsense! It's a comedy for us.
You've seen the movie?
Yeah, okay. I've seen, but it is like a ridiculous.
So in this movie, this hero goes about killing hundreds of people.
No. Before that, he said alpha male, na? He
alpha
says
male.
that, na?
He
alpha
asks
male.
the woman.
Come on, tell me.
Lick his boot.
Lick his boot is a misogyny that will come.
Can I also tell you that your organization SIFF has made more than a dozen posts, which I have screenshots of, supporting and justifying this film.
Honestly, it is not.
On Twitter?
No. That is for fun.
Okay.
But see, people sometimes need entertainment. But I'll tell you what is going on. That man says alpha male, right? He calls himself alpha, and this is what is going on. You should be like an alpha male. Come on. You are seeking attention. He's seeking attention everywhere. In the beginning only, he's doing break dance. Dil hai chota sa, he's doing break dance. You, as a man, you are not supposed to do that, okay? In that movie, he survived. Otherwise, you will be beaten by other men only.
Okay.
So, no.
Okay. So we have to move on from this movie, Animal. But I have to ask you, no, hold on. I have one last question. And then I would maybe wrap up this, just asking each one a few questions like this. The movie Aetraz, again, your organization says that in this movie, the woman who is supporting the husband and fighting for him, whereas another woman has filed a false case of sexual harassment. That woman is a problem. Why do you have a problem with the movie Aetraz?
We have a problem with that movie. Who said
that? So there is a contradiction of what is on Twitter on SIFF channel and what Anil is going to say here.
No. Aetraz, we had
a problem. It says that this woman who is standing by the husband is actually a python, and there is a python.
Okay.
But we would have to move on. I just wanted to flag that, and we have to move on. I would now come to Anish. Anish, do you love movies? You grew up in Mumbai. Right? So, do you love movies? Are you a film lover?
I am a film lover, but I'm very glad to say I haven't watched any of these movies.
Actually, I have also not.
Stay very far away.
Me too.
Okay, so for the decades and decades, Bollywood, Indian film industry, have turned, either they have completely invisibilized LGBTQI characters, or they have reduced them to, subjects of ridicule. As a film lover, as a film, fan, did it impact your film watching experience growing up as a young kid, or Even in your, youth. You're still young, but yeah.
I think we really take films very seriously, and I think there's definitely the onus upon filmmaking to be a medium for social change. But quite often, films and particularly Bollywood movies are all masala. So while there is definitely a large conversation to be had about a movie like Dostana having very negative stereotypes of queer people and gay men in particular, there's also a lot to be said about the fact that gay men were seen on screen for the first time by crores of Indians because of a film like Dostana, right? So how do you navigate that dual reality of the fact that you're getting visibility and opening up the space for that conversation and for a more nuanced conversation around the issue, while simultaneously acknowledging that it's not the best way forward? Now, a surge of movies like Dostana were replaced by very sort of serious movies, right? It's like Aligarh, the figure of the queer person as, embattled as somebody who's meeting a tragic end. Even in Kapoor and Sons, you see the sort of end being bittersweet. And those, again, are technically maybe better films or better representations. But what terrible representations, because they're telling young queer people across the country that, oh my God, you're either going to end up dead or heartbroken. So, so that's not exactly what you want either. I'm a much more firm believer in the Ek Ladki Ko Dekha To Aisa Laga category of films.
Romance.
It's a terrible rom-com.
Pure rom-com.
It's terrible. It's no plot.
Cis-hetero rom-com.
It's no plot, no good filmmaking. It's not got great cinematography, but it's a trashy Bollywood film, except replace man and woman with man and man or woman and woman.
Okay, great. So, but I was going to ask you a follow-up question, but since you already said that, well, I don't take movies so seriously, and you said that these both kinds of things are happening, but do you have a vision for queer representation in films? Do you think that's going to... And also, like when you said Dostana, I would say even Dostana is a new age cinema. Dostana, I would say, okay, it is like in the border of both ridicule, but not ridicule, humor, but also representation. I would say Dostana did bring these, like you rightly said, bring these characters for the first time into the drawing rooms. Also, absolutely. Yeah. But do you think, so now we are moving on from there, from complete ridicule to Dostana or Kal Ho to now, moving on, the vision for queer representation in film?
I mean, I think you're seeing queer representation explode, right? I think in many ways, mainstream Bollywood obviously is one avenue, but the amount of queer cinema on Alt Balaji, right, is incredible, right? The number of queer stories being told every day by short filmmakers, by OTT platforms, by mainstream Bollywood sort of productions is so large that there isn't a set narrative for what a queer story looks like anymore, which I think is a good thing. I think it's reflecting in many ways, and films are a symptom, right? Even something like a Kabir, Singh, or an animal is a symptom of what's happening. In politics, you see the crisis unfold in front of you. Why are these movies coming about? Like you said, right? They're not against the state. They're more internal because you're seeing lakhs and lakhs of disenfranchised, lonely young men. In your cities, in your towns, even in your villages, there are lonely young men who don't have anyone to turn to or any sort of inspiration to go to. And you're seeing that reflected in cinema. Simultaneously, with queer films, you're seeing this sort of diversity being a reflection of the diversity of the queer community. When I was growing up, I didn't know a single out queer person. I only found out Parmesh Shahani, who's someone who heads the Godrej India Culture Lab and who you know as well, was gay when I started working with him. But today you have young queer people coming out from not just your metro cities, but everywhere, right?
And that impacts the patriarchy. This is for all of you. So when cinema gives more representation to characters like those 4 girls in 4 more shots, or has more representation, that challenges the patriarchy.
Made in Heaven has a queer hero, and also, while he is miserable most of the time,
it also has an amazing Dalit woman representation.
Find love.
It also has an amazing Dalit woman representation.
Yes. But that, I think,
it all challenges the traditional patriarchy or not?
It does, of course. I think it does.
And then that's why movies like Animals are made.
I also want to say season 1 was so much better than season 2 for Made in Heaven because it didn't try too hard. Season 2 just felt like a social studies textbook.
Okay, so do you want to share anything on this, on the Animal movie and queer representation, and any of you would want to add?
I would say...
Yeah, we can.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me? So I haven't seen Animal, and I definitely avoided it. I read the critique write-ups, and somehow I realized it was not for me. And I think these are the choices one makes in life. What you want to enter, you know, there's so much of influx of information. You open Insta, you open YouTube. At some point, you have to make those choices of what you want to let into your body and mind. I don't want to let that kind of stuff into my body and mind. So I think there has to be a discerning audience. It's a personal choice. Some people love it. I respect them for their choices. And so be it. But I would like to say there's been some really strong women-centric cinema that I've been seeing, and we've been talking about cinema, but there's a whole new world that is there in your drawing room every evening. And I saw this beautiful serial called Maharani. You know, the complete...
The OTT channels.
you know,
yeah.
the OTT, where they show this woman coming from nowhere. And I myself am a writer. I wrote a book on my mother's life, and now I've gone independent by doing a 5-book contract with Rupa.
Nilüfer, I'm going to come to you about your artwork as well. Yeah. I'm going to come to you about your artwork, therefore, since you're already spoken. No, you please have the mic, since you're already speaking, so I thought I was going to come to you next. So we're talking about cinema, but you are from the theater background, you do photography, you are an artist, you do your own painting also, I believe. So my question to you is that, you know, even art or even theater has patriarchy, the women objectification, the same role of mother, daughter, sacrificial woman, sacrificial mother is also prevalent in art, theater. Would you agree? Or first of all, yeah, first question is, would you agree with that in the theater industry also?
I'm not deeply from the art world, I would say, but I'm someone who's dabbled in everything. I was born to a family where I have a career, and my love is for writing and theater. So my book was an adaptation of my poem. So it's a dance drama. So yes, I think there is widely, and not nationally, but internationally, an objectification, sorry, I got that word.
It's okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
of women.
Yeah.
And yes, they are treated like, you know, something to be viewed, and then it becomes also the personal choice of the woman to, you know, sculpt her own image in a different way.
Right.
You know, you need to become more cerebral, you need to become stronger, and I think every woman needs to own her life. The ownership of a life. You know, you're in India, unfortunately, the system is that you are born as your father's daughter, and then you're given to the husband, and you're more, you know, an object that is passed on
From father to the husband.
Yes, so you have to own your
Absolutely.
life, and
Yeah.
I think that's how. And I would just like to say that in my next novel, I have written about a very strong woman. The character is, and the book is called Tara the Wind Chaser, which is really about a very, very strong woman character. And I've also given them the movie rights because he said it has the potential.
Wow, awesome.
But I'm a humble person, I would say that.
Awesome.
It's an
I'll
opinion.
come back to you, Nilüfer.
I want to play a part in the film that you're writing for, obviously, you know, daddy or grandfather, I don't mind, so long as I get money for it.
Nasir, actually that brings me to
Nasir,
you.
no problem.
Nasir, sorry. So you are from the theatre industry. Would you say you're from the theatre industry? And would you like to first comment on that question, whether the theatre industry has better representation of complex stories, or is it also very riddled with all these traditional patriarchal tropes and stereotypes?
My God, so many questions. Okay. So, okay, I'm one of those not so interested actors. I was a reluctant actor. So I stayed in the business of advertising where you don't have to say much. Just have to look unhappy for about 3 seconds. Then the wife, she brings you an Aspro or a Saridon. and you feel
That's
okay.
very stereotypical.
Then you are seen laughing and entertaining the little
So
boy, your son, and you go out laughing. It's all over in 30
the
seconds.
Saradon is being brought by the wife only.
Well, we won't blame anybody. That's what actually patriarchy is all about. I think they say, she gave me the headache. But anyway, sorry. So,
Now you're saying all
yeah.
controversial thing for this
So
session.
I don't know, but yeah, I must say that they've also come a long way. They have made films with well-known actresses. Mother India was one where actually Nargis, she was the ultimate woman power and like pure determination, and she shoots her own son down, who's now, you know, a bit of a dacoit and all that. And that was in like early 60s. So there have been films where the woman has been shown like, oh, don't mess with me. And then they're showing them again, a Madhuri Dixit film called Pratighat or something, where she hacks up men. And another film where they're apparently castrated by Dimple for having offended them. So a lot is happening vis-a-vis the film, that they're actually concentrating on a woman being so strong, nobody can stop her. And even the gods say, okay, go ahead. So that is happening also. I just want you to know that.
Agreed.
I don't know too much about the industry, and you know, I'm one of those, I don't work too much. That's why I've asked for a part in a film. I'm desperate, suitably unemployed. Mostly,
But you're right. When you said that these, in fact, that it's a misnomer when we say, oh, these progressive films are, these new age cinema is very progressive. They are coming up with representation, but old cinema was more patriarchal. That's not true, because in the 60s and 70s, and Kaveri might throw some light on this, the cinema in the 60s and 70s used to be very, much more complex stories and representation. So do you want to say something?
Not just that, I also wanted to bring in the fact that, you earlier talked about Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and there's a complete genre of movies like that, like Dil Dhadakne Do,
Yeah.
which is actually from the female gaze, the men being observed from the female gaze.
Yeah.
And a gully boy.
Excellent, yeah.
And it's a different kind of masculinity that emerges.
Yes.
Now, whether you agree with it or not, but it is a much more vulnerable and a much more open masculinity. And it's very interesting that it's being done by women. So I think when you talk about the male gaze, you should also look at the female gaze. And how the
very good.
female
Yeah,
gaze
exactly.
is looking at men. And I think that is the kind of change that is coming about, that the female gaze is not just about women and how they're portrayed, but it's also about how men are portrayed.
And how
I think-
women see them.
And how women see them, and how women would like them to be. And I think that is where the beauty of cinema is, that it is actually reflecting the many diversities that are happening right now. And whether it's
completely agree.
LGBTQ, whether it's toxic masculinity, a more vulnerable masculinity, I think you get to see all kinds of masculinities. And I think what was very interesting in the 60s, the early 60s and the 50s, was that you had this kind of masculinities being portrayed. You had a Dilip Kumar who could cry at the drop of a hat. You had a sort of a jokerish Raj Kapoor who was embodying a kind of socialist philosophy of that era. You had the raffish and more masculine and very sort of enfant terrible kind of Devanand. So you had actually the three archetypes of men very clearly defined. And you had also a lot of filmmakers who were referring to a lot of texts. So whether it was Dev Das or Bimal Roy, all the movies that he made, they were all text-based movies. And I think there again you saw different kind of masculinity. Dev Das is always crying or drinking, Now, that's not the kind of men you'd like to see now. You would portray them as being weak. But Dev Das was a hero, and for many, many generations. So I think that is something that we need to recapture. Now it's called DEI, and it's all very scientific, and you have to have X number of LGBTQ, X number of...
It was just good cinema those days.
Earlier it was just good
cinema,
storytelling.
good storytelling.
And diverse storytelling.
Diverse storytelling. That I would we can't stop talking about Animal movie because you said these were different kind of masculinity that used to be portrayed, and you just talked about 2-3 examples. So therefore, my question to Anil is, Anil, what do you want to get portrayed on cinema? What kind of masculinity do you want to see in cinema?
No, I agree with Kaveri ji, whatever she said, right? That is true because 60s, 70s or 80s, till that time, maybe it was okay, and then 90s onwards.
No, I'm asking, like, what kind of, suppose this, the character, like Dilip Kumar, he used to play roles where he used to be very emotional.
Have
he could cry.
vulnerable.
Devdas was all the time crying, right? So, do you think that is a good portrayal of masculinity?
Yes.
Okay. Any other example you want to give? Movies that you think, okay, in this movie, I think the masculine portrayal is...
The whole stardom of Shah Rukh Khan is based on being a vulnerable man.
What do you think of Shah Rukh Khan's romantic roles?
In the past 2 films, Shah Rukh Khan has been.
I will talk about Shah Rukh Khan's problematic from a misogyny point
let's
of view.
hear why Shah Rukh Khan is problematic.
Misogyny point of view. Point of view.
But very short. Okay, very quick.
See, some of the movies of Shah Rukh Khan are what is actually called pickup artist. See, Bollywood has somehow had pickup artist. So they will use a formula to woo a woman.
What is wrong with that?
No, it's wrong. I mean, I'll tell you.
Why should...
He's going to prove it to you. Give him
it's
a
not
minute.
about right and wrong, but the way the subcultures in USA are going. See, there are men's activists, there are something, then there's something, we stay away from pickup artists or incels and all. So those are the troublesome characters in today's context. So if you go to Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge or even Tejab, those scenes where, this is the formula to get a woman, we find it,
problematic. Agree. Even as a feminist, we would say, you can't keep chasing a woman. You don't have to find a formula to chase a woman.
That Hook movie and that thing,
I agree.
partner, where you are basically manipulating somebody.
Agree.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then that is normalized.
That is normalized. Wrong.
I mean, if some girl is 17 or 18 and you are basically grooming somebody. You see, in today's context, last 20 years, what all has happened in the worldwide, earlier it may be okay, but today's context, we have to be very careful.
And here, I think one thing that we've not talked about, this whole manosphere, is adolescence. I think why are people talking about adolescence night and day? It's number 1 trending in India.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of the effect of the manosphere out there on young boys.
On young boys.
And parents not knowing what to do with it. Because it's no longer the family that is actually providing the social values for children. It's the world out there. It's not even the schools. It's a virtual world. And now children are unable to distinguish between the real world and the virtual world. Of course, it's an extreme case, but it happens, and it has happened in India as well, and it is happening in India. So I think this whole manosphere, which is also all about toxic masculinity, Andrew Tate, women are indecipherable, replaceable ciphers. All this is very much part of the conversation in India as well.
I watched adolescence from a manosphere perspective. And see, I'll tell you one thing. I have been inside. I have not met pickup artists or incels in my ever life. I don't know anybody, by the way, in any other country who has met an incel, which knows. But I have met men's rights activists and the other category called MGTOW. MGTOW is men
going... What is that?
Okay. See, there are 4 or 5 categories. They have a big distance. It's not a single thing. So men's rights activists are what you hear. Then MGTOW is men going their own way. They don't marry or they don't have committed relationships. Okay, so basically in India, we relate them to the monks, the Buddhist monks.
Okay.
Or let's say somebody like APJ Abdul Kalam or Naveen Patnaik kind of a thing. Yeah. But then there comes the pickup artist. The pickup artists are formula, they teach formula. They take money and teach you a formula.
The hitch kind of.
Exactly. So that's the group which we try to
learn a lot of new language,
and then comes,
new words.
Then comes the last stage is this younger generation of incels. See, in India, we still have time about incels. I'll tell you why.
But we should be careful.
Yes. In USA and Western countries, what has happened is they have told to teenagers that by 17 you should have a girlfriend or you should go to prom. So that has created a pressure over generations. So if you don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, there's something wrong with you.
And coming back to the films, coming back to
that adolescence we were speaking.
Right.
So how can a 13-year-old boy feel entitled, or he was bullied by a girl, and he tried to get back at her. Something like that is the thing, right? Yeah, he stabbed her. So,
Okay, so we have to come back to films, and I want to.
Also, actually, one of the reasons for the mass shootings is this
In schools,
untreated, untreated sort
yes,
of
and
trauma.
films.
also-
Talking
but-
about
It
films,
could be also the substance abuse, which we don't know about when this guy finally freaks out.
but all of these also then come.
After having had, sorry to interrupt you, but I have some experience in the drug business. I did not deal in them, but I just know the people who were consuming them. Okay, I know some are very, very close to me from a distance. I keep my distance, but so you don't know that other aspect of theirs where they are having stuff. And then there comes a time when the stuff hits the ceiling and the nerves, they go haywire and they are unable to control. They start seeing things also, they start feeling things. And then one day they say, let's go and kill some people. And that's also one of the things that happens. I'm not an expert.
It happens because his underwear
Yeah.
doesn't suit him.
Yeah. Or his
Okay.
father did
Thank
not
God,
hug
Thank
him.
God I haven't seen that film.
Not hug him.
His birthday.
Yeah.
But I wanna
Nilofer, yeah.
pick up on that and say, that of course drugs can be one of the reasons, but the more concerning part is this, right? With incel culture, the reason for more shots is so threatening.
Why is it?
because
Yeah,
there
I
is
want to ask
agency
that.
that women have
Women,
to say
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And there is a feeling when you grow up in this sort of manosphere and when you're inhabiting these spaces that you're entitled to sex, right? That you're entitled to women's bodies, that you're
Exactly.
entitled to having physical desires fulfilled. And when you don't have those fulfilled, you think it's completely okay to take the situation into your own hands,
In your own
which is what
hand,
happens
yeah,
with
yeah,
adolescents, right?
yeah.
And that's something that's very difficult to control because you don't think of the law, you don't think of social morality, you think that this is right because this is what the internet has taught you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this agency of women in 4 more shots. Just for the audiences, I just want to say that. So this, the life of these 4 women is also that they don't need men they don't need men. They're happy to self-pleasure and so on. I have heard the buzz and we would try wrapping it up now. But I want to come back to Nilofer. Nilofer, you have done you've done your show called Ratani's Red Lipstick, and which depicts young street girls' aspirations. You've also done a photography show, a docu-series called Survival, in which again you have addressed the issue of street pregnancy. I think these are 2 that really stood out for me, and I thought that as an artist, very few artists are mostly into making beautiful pictures and all that, or even when they capture women, they beautify and all that. But you thought of capturing these most perilous, pregnancy street. What made you, what was your motivation for that?
So I've been interested in people who live on the street because it is amazing. If you go and see, I've actually been inside one of those jhopadis and seen they have a complete life there with television. It's not that I spend a lot of time over it, but I decided to make a documentary, and it was so interesting because, she had all her makeup and everything, and I decided to make this movie, which was a docu-story, which was set actually in their home, in their lives. And it's about her dream to use a red lipstick and her family's decision to banish her where there's, any kind of, discrimination. There is so much of discrimination from the male patriarch in rural India. And there are urban villages also. You think of Delhi as a city, but you may find that a couple of miles from here, you have a complete rural kind of attitude in a basti. So this girl is, living in a basti, and her dream is to use a red lipstick. And when she does,
She's banished.
she is banished by the family, and she has to go away.
It's her aspirations and
The other one,
we
of
would love
course, is
to.
about street pregnancies because we don't realize how many people give birth.
On
And
the street.
we filmed that with keeping due respect for the women, of course. But it's interesting
This is
to see
so
it.
amazing. We'd love to see more of your work. And as we have heard the buzz, many of you probably don't know, Nasir also plays the flute beautifully. And maybe
Very quickly, okay.
Maybe we can
I know you are
end
short of
on
time.
this musical note
तो
now.
3.5 मिनट का गाना है, उसको मैं 2.5 मिनट में खत्म कर दूंगा.
Can we have a... Oh, sorry. We would, we would take some few questions from the audience. We have time for how many questions? Maybe 3? 1 or 2, okay. Do we have some questions? Okay.
Then Nina. She looks very, very puzzled. I think she has many questions.
Thank you. I just have a question for Anil. Anil, you know me
I know.
by now.
I'm going to ask. Okay.
So I'm very curious to know about this campaign that your organization, Save Indian Family Foundation, ran on Twitter and all across social media against the movie Mrs. So I was hoping Sanjukta speaks about it, but she did not bring that up. So you specifically spoke about this movie, and I mean your organization said that, you know, what is the problem with this movie? In this movie, a woman cannot cook for 2 men. So I mean, was it?
No. What is the context? Yeah.
The question is that what made you so triggered against that movie that you?
No.
But you asked people to boycott that movie.
No. We may be, but we didn't. We did Alia Bhatt boycott for Darlings movie. We also did, Amir Khan at one point of time, but leave all that. This one we did not really call for boycott, but it came into our range. See, I'll tell you what happens in movie. Movie can be educational, movie can be entertainment, it can address your base instincts also, or movie can be ideological. Now, if a movie is coming on to ideological or political, see, nowadays so many movies are made on ideologies, on this spectrum, that spectrum. So this movie came in an ideological target, and it came from Kerala. And we have certain ideological problem with whatever our baggage. So we got a range. The other thing is that this entire thing which I am hearing from when I was 20, 22, 25, I was working in Tata Steel, that women's unpaid work is not calculated in the GDP. Right? It's a common thing, we all know. I would have agreed. So, but then over a period of time, we ourselves asked that do men do unpaid work? Or what they do, what all they don't do. Because a lot of times men are not talking about these things, about gender topics, right? So men are, and even if a man talks also, he will be called a misogynist. Okay, if he casually talks, he will be called. So a lot of men are intimidated. So we guys are not going to be intimidated because we are ready to take whatever tag. So we have said that men also do a lot of significant unpaid work. The other thing is that given the way this entire gender politics is so, so hostile, we said that let's put an Excel sheet, सबका हिसाब करेंगे. आपका हिसाब होगा, मेरा हिसाब होगा. तो हमने वहाँ पे ये भी क्वेश्चन पूछा कि घर का जो सामान है, कितने कपड़े हैं, laundry दोनों 50-50 करेगा, but the woman has more clothes. I'm not trying to be offensive.
First of all,
but
Anil, the question was why the movie Mrs.
In the movie, it is said about unpaid work of woman, and it is the lived experience of all our mothers. Then I have to look at my own mother and aunts and all in what way, because I have not seen weak women in my all these my 3 generations. So we said that this is only one perspective. We are giving another perspective. Like our mothers and all, they got a lot of properties. And many of the uncles are dead, whereas women are doing good. And I have not seen weak people. So the point is, we are politically attacking the movie rather than, justifying that women should not have choices.
But then Animal is also a movie that can be politically attacked and banned, because Animal is also telling another story.
No, Animal is political in the sense that Alpha and all he's talking, that is political. What else is political?
No, the question was...
that swastika was there.
The question was why the movie Mrs. triggers, because you don't want to see... You don't want to see representation.
I'll give you
so you are saying you don't want to see the representation of women's plight in films. Where the woman is saying that all of these housework is...
Sorry. Let me put it this way. Movie maker has a free speech rights to make a movie. Okay? And we are for free speech. Whatever, unless it is calls for a violence. Right? So movie maker has every right to do a political film. We will not call for cancellation or boycott. We have also free speech to criticize. It is a two-way thing. So they make movie, we criticize. Okay. We make something. They
so is there a... Okay. So I'm not sure if I can understand your answer, but maybe we can move on. Do we have another question? Yes. Mike, please.
मेरा क्वेश्चन कावेरी जी से है कावेरी जी ये बताइए, जो पहले मूवी होती थी 2 फूल मिलते थे तो पता चल जाता था कि प्यार हुआ है, और आज खुला खुला दिखाते हैं जैसे एनिमल पिक्चर में है, या और भी ऐसी मूवीज़ हैं। तो आप इन दोनों को समाज में किस रूप में देखते हैं? पहले की ठीक थी या अब की ठीक है?
देखिए, समाज में तो बहुत बदलाव आया है। अगर वो रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करेंगे सिनेमा में तो फिल्म मेकर्स अपना काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि अब अगर आप 2 फूल दिखाएंगे तो लोग हंसेंगे आप पे। वो आप आयरनी की तौर पे यूज कर सकते हैं, बट यू कैन नॉट शो इट एज अ रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल हैविंग सेक्स, यू नो, मेल फीमेल व्हाटएवर। तो आई थिंक मतलब जो सेक्सुअलाइजेशन हुआ है वो तो सोसाइटी में भी हुआ है। देयर इज ग्रेटर ओपननेस। जी, मुझे नहीं लगता कि अपराध बढ़ रहे हैं। अपराध तो सोसाइटी में है ही मैम, आपको तो सबसे ज्यादा पता होगा। मतलब कितने अपराध होते हैं दिन में, एंड डोमेस्टिक, एंड दिस इज नॉट इन जेस्ट, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस कितना हो रहा है इंडिया में जो रिकॉर्ड भी नहीं होता है। कितनी बार डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के केसेस होते हैं, पुलिस आती है, वो बोलते हैं आपस में सुलह कर लो, हमारे पास और भी केसेस हैं। ये तो दिस इज नॉर्मल इन सोसाइटी। सो आई थिंक दिस इज हैपनिंग इन सोसाइटी, सो इट हैज टू बी रिफ्लेक्टेड इन सिनेमा। Otherwise, I don't think cinema is doing its job, because it is a mirror of society. Now, whether society is influencing cinema or cinema is influencing society, that is a difficult relation. Exactly, it's a two-way street.
माइनर बच्चों पे इसका असर हो रहा है 15 से।
but इसीलिए रेटिंग्स है, इसीलिए पेरेंट
Okay, I think we
अप्रूवल
have
है।
to-
अगर आप वो भी नहीं फॉलो करेंगे, छोटे छोटे बच्चों को लेके आप ये
Yes.
फिल्में देख रहे हैं, and the hall
पहले
is allowing
मूवी होती
it.
थी,
Actually, yeah,
एडल्ट
we have
होती
to
थी।
move
So I think
on to the next
no, but I
question.
think the rating system is something that
से
exists.
पहले विधाता आई
on
थी,
streaming as
नॉर्मल
well as
मूवी थी,
theatre.
तब और भी एडल्ट मूवी है तो लोग नहीं बच्चों को जाने देते थे। और जहाँ तक रही बात कि पुलिस को कहते हैं कि कंप्लेंट नहीं, कहीं यहीं समझौता कर लो,
जी, जी।
कोर्ट में भी ऐसा होता है कि
बिल्कुल,
कोर्ट कहती है कि
बिल्कुल।
अगर आप अपने केस को बाहर जाके वाइंड अप करना चाहें तो आप समझौता कर ले, मेडिएशन में भेजते हैं।
मतलब हमारा पूरा एटीट्यूड ही है ना कॉम्प्रोमाइज का, एडजस्ट कर लीजिए।
आई थिंक सवाल ये
Our
था कि क्या
philosophy
फिल्मों
lies.
में सवाल ये था कि क्या फिल्मों में अगर हम मतलब सेक्सुअल कंटेंट देख रहे हैं तो क्या उससे क्राइम बढ़ रहा है? तो मैम आई थिंक क्राइम थियरिस्ट्स ये बोलते हैं कि ये नहीं है, ये कनेक्शन नहीं है। आई थिंक काफ़ी रिसर्च ये भी किया गया है कि ज़्यादा सेक्सुअलिटी को रिप्रेस करके दबा के रखते हैं तो क्राइम बढ़ता है। थोड़ा करने दो, लोगों को खुला देखने दो, थोड़ा पॉर्न, थोड़ा सेक्सुअल कुछ सीन देख ले तो शायद वो रिलीज हो जाएगा। और या आई थिंक वी कैन टेक वन मोर क्वेश्चन।
अगर आप खाली पॉर्न देखेंगे और कुछ नहीं देखेंगे तब
she has the mic please, Devrani.
In continuation to what ma'am said, actually कि पहले representation फूलों से होता था, अभी नहीं। The thing is again let's come to the concept, basic concept of sex. अगर हम उसको टैबू की तरह ही देखते रहें कि वो नहीं, we should not watch all this, तो that is first thing that I want to share कि it is normal अगर वो sexual content is needed in that scene and it should be there. Second is like जैसे आपने मैम शायद कहा या आपने भी, I think it is very much needed because PAP is a new thing to engage with the adolescent and also with the kid. Again मैंने पहले भी बोला था कि बच्चों के साथ भी दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पेट्रियार्की और दिस थिंग बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। आई हैव अ 9-year-old चाइल्ड एंड लाइक व्हेनेवर ही इज़ मोर इनटू दिस एवेंजर्स एंड एनीथिंग, एंड इससे पहले भी एक पैनलिस्ट ने कहा था द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ लव एंड एम्पैथी इज गोइंग, and whenever we talk like is there any friends and all, he never mentioned about any girl, female friend. So I say why it is so, koi to friend hogi, no I don't play with girls and I don't like,
I think
as
the
if they are
gender segregation from childhood is also a deep problem.
Not only that, and they call themselves alpha. He is just 9 and he calls himself,
And he's already
I want to be an alpha male.
Can we, okay, we have to, I am listening, the buzzer is on. Yes, is there another question?
No, my son says he's Gen Alpha.
Jen, oh God. I think we don't have any more time.
Last question to him.
Okay.
Like ma'am said, कि films are increasing the crime into the society. Just want to give an example. In 1990s, there was a movie where the hero and heroine both go to some monument, or they go to some tree, and then they circle out that heart shaped sign, and then they write down their name, और उनका लव अमर हो जाएगा. तो उसके बाद, उस मूवी के बाद कितने सारे हमें मॉन्यूमेंट्स के ऊपर वो सब चित्र उकेरे हुए दिखे, और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का प्रोग्राम चला था कि आप कुतुब मीनार के ऊपर या लाल किला के ऊपर कहीं पर भी इस तरीके के प्रोग्राम्स ना करें. दूसरा, अगर हम बात करते हैं जो तेरे नाम, तो जो तेरे नाम मूवी आई उसके बाद कितने सारे लड़कों ने बीच की मांग रख के वो बालों को करना शुरू किया. सो इट इज़ रॉन्ग कि अगर हम कहते हैं कि फिल्मों से सोसाइटी के अंदर क्राइम नहीं बढ़ता है. अगर हम बोलें आग गलत है कि सही है, फायर, तो फायर इज राइट if it is being used by a legitimate person or who is intellectually more capable. But अगर हम नॉर्मल फिल्मों में सेक्स दिखाने लग जाएं, जो 7-8 साल के बच्चे हैं उनके मन पे क्या प्रभाव पड़ेगा? इस चीज के ऊपर क्यों नहीं बात सोची जाती है?
आप तेरे नाम के हेयर कट के बारे में बोल रहे हैं, उस तरह से तो धोनी का हेयर कट भी सबने फॉलो किया था.
धोनी का
that's not an example, but I think the point you're making about sexual content and people and children of 7 to 9 watching it is actually a result of the rating system not being followed. As a parent,
and also
as an
parents.
Adult,
And parents are also not responsible. I see a lot of parents giving their phone to the child, and the child is watching whatever. It's the parents'
but
responsibility.
The funny part of all of this today is
Yeah.
that in all of these conversations, we forget that the internet exists. You know,
Internet
Ranveer
exists.
Alabadia
Yeah.
का controversy हो गया, ban कर दो. India's Got Latent के सभी episode
Yeah.
हर streaming platform पे आ गए. More people saw it than ever before. Chava को
You look at the news these days.
100%.
People being cut up.
But forget that. I'm saying you ban.
Yeah. So there is
But you ban sex in movies. You're going
there is
to.
so much of
No, let
criminal
me give you,
content
I'll
on.
give you one fun story. The Indian government tried once to ban porn websites. They got to page 10 of Google search results, and whoever the babu was who was responsible for this got bored. So page 11 onwards, you had everything accessible. So you can't censor the internet, you know. So you have to, like the lady here said, you have to talk to your kids about
Talk
it.
to your kids
They
about
will watch it. You ban it in
You-
movies, they'll
yeah.
watch it on the internet. You ban it on the internet, they'll find it
They
on the
will
dark
find a
web.
way to watch. These
find a
kids
way to
these
watch
days.
it.
Okay, so can we close now, or yeah?
Absolutely true. I feel
Should we have the musical note from Nasir and close it then?
We'll have Mr. Nasir to present his art.
Yes.
So I'll just play it without the mic, and I hope I get it.
Yeah, I can hold her now, but I thought.
So you can get to the podium and you can use podium mic.
Do you mind if I try my experiment?
Sir, can you get to the podium mic, please?
Podium mic is on. You can.
I'll hold this mic.
Okay. You'll hold the mic for me? Will you? Okay, I can go behind the podium.
Okay.
All right, I guess so. Make it easy for everybody. They can't see me very well. It's good. Sorry. Okay, Piato say. God help us. And don't clap, please. Sorry, because I get distracted. I'm sorry. I'm used to being alone. Thank you. आगे और भी था, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैडम उठने वाली हैं, तो मैंने कहा इससे पहले वो मुझे धकेल दें.
No, that's not true at all. Can we have a big round of applause, please, for Nasir, for the beautiful melody, and for all our panelists. Thank you so much. And can I invite the PAP team?
The PAP team has to be on the stage for the pictures and the goodie bags.
I believe there was a time in the films when there was a dialogue when the daughter-in-law was having morning sickness. In the 60s or earlier, she would come up to her and she was, morning sickness. She was expecting, she would say, "Ghabra mat beti, sab theek ho jayega, ladka hi hoga." Aisa suna hai, I'm not sure if I've seen any of those scenes, but it used to be a bit like that.
Thank you so much for being part of the first PAP Summit. It's an effort that we're trying to make to thank you, to just kind of start a conversation around these topics, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry for being so late with our and for your patience.
1 hour late.
It wasn't your fault, it was our karma.
Hello.
Ready.